This is Robyn. Welcome to mypinkstamper.com. I think I have my most favorite card tutorial that I have made in a long time for you today. Did that make sense? I hope it made sense. I'm using the Artistically Inked, this was released almost a year ago. It has been my go-to. It's my favorite. We're going to be using some of the coordinating designer series paper that's only available for the next, I believe, month until it runs out. So if you fall in love with this paper today, you can pick it up on my shop if you're in the United States. And I'm not sure if this stamp set will be available next year. I'll find out in a couple weeks. But I wanted to show it one more time just in case it does retire. I'm doing a farewell tour with my favorite stamp sets from the 2021 annual catalog with Stampin' Up. So we'll go ahead and jump right in and get started. If you're new to me, welcome. Don't forget to click the little subscribe button if you'd like to see more of my video tutorials. And I have a lot of fun things coming up for you all. Believe me, a lot. You are going to love it. Okay, so let's start with our stamping first. Then we're also doing heat embossing for this card. And we're using just some beautiful colors. And I'll have everything listed on my screen as well as in the description below on this YouTube video. Or if you're watching on my blog, you can also see it below this video on my blog. Try to make it super easy for you if you'd like to recreate. If you want to make something similar with me, maybe you have this product at home, make this along with me or use what you have. Use similar colors, different stamp set. I'm just here to inspire and to help get your creative juices flowing. So that's why I like to create with you all. All right, so we're going to be using this really beautiful flower. And I love that it says Artistically Inked. It's kind of a distinctive, so when you stamp the stamp, it looks like you're stamping multiple colors and you're just stamping one. So we'll do that right now. And we're using the Magenta Madness ink pad. I would get it now before it's gone forever. And that goes along with the cardstock that coordinates with it that I'm using today. It's one of Stampin' Up's in colors, and it was available for 2 years. But if you're new to me and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I'm in love, where can I get that? I would get it before it's gone. And there is the stamp, and look at that. Look at how it looks like I stamped multiple colors to create this one image, and I just stamped one color. That's all we need the magenta for this card. Now I'm using Pear Pizzazz. I thought that was a really fun color combination. And I'm going to stamp the leaves from the stamp set. I'm going to stamp them 2 times. Okay, set that aside. Now I'm going to do a little bit of heat embossing. And just to be sure that I don't get the powder everywhere, I'm going to grab my small grid paper. And I'm going to be using Versamark. Did I say I was stamping this on basic white cardstock? I can't remember anymore what I say during my videos. Hopefully, everything, like I said, is listed below if you want to recreate it. Okay, I'm going to stamp the center stamp in Versamark. And I'm going to get my gold embossing powder. This embossing powder is from our Metallics collection. So it comes with, let me see if I can get this right, gold, silver, and I think copper. I'm not sure about the third, but I think I'm probably right. You can comment below if you know and let me know. Okay. I'm going to stamp this right here, and then I'm going to pour the gold embossing powder, and I just shake it really good. Some of you commented when I did my reel on my Instagram, and I normally give it a good flick to get any static off. I'll set that aside just for a second. Actually, we're going to emboss one more thing, but I'll go ahead and emboss this really quick. I'm using our heat tool and on setting 2, and I'll just aim this right at it. And you can see it changing consistency in just a second. It had to heat up a little bit this morning. I hadn't used my heat tool yet today. Now, when you're embossing, heat embossing, it doesn't really matter how you do it. You do need the tool to do this. I remember the days of trying to do it over the toaster and having a lot of close calls. So I wouldn't try that at home. That was before I got my very first heat tool. And now I'm so happy that I have my heat tool. But you need to use setting 2. And you can do it from underneath, on top. You can swirl it around, however you want to do it. Now I have a piece of vellum, and this is cut at 3.5, 3.5 by 4 3/4. And I'm going to stamp the word thanks. I really like embossing on vellum. It's a really cool look. So I'm going to stamp thanks. And I'm actually, some of you are going to get this card in the mail if you've placed an order with me on my website. I like to make hand stamped cards. So this might be some of the cards that you all are getting in the mail, because I am so thankful for you guys. All right, give it a good flick, and it usually gets rid of all of the static ones. Okay, so for this one will go faster because it's on vellum. And it looks professional. Look at how professional. You guys can see the shine. You see that? And it's raised up too. I'm not going to touch it right away, but if you give it a few seconds and you touch it, it's raised up. Okay, I can set that aside. Now I'm going to pull out. I'm going to first put away, I don't know if you're like me, but this usually happens when I'm using my white embossing powder. I'll leave my container open and I'll accidentally hit the edge and it'll be all over my table. And I'll have to try to scoop it up. So I don't want to do that. I'm not doing that today, hopefully. All right, so I'm going to pull out my Stampin' Cut and Emboss. This is just our die cutting machine. Use whatever you have if you want to create along with me. Just if it works with our dies, you can make this card too. All right, so now I'm going to grab the dies. And there are 3 dies that I'm using. And I'm using the frames. There's thinlits in this die set. And then there are dies, or framelets. And the framelets actually frame around the stamped image, and the thinlets do their own, they're their own image on their own. So I hope that made sense. They used to actually be called that in the catalog. They used to say thinlets, framelets, edgelets, all sorts of fun things. Okay, so I'm going to put this on here. Line it up the best that I can. It's okay if it's imperfect. It's honestly fine. If they wanted it perfect, they would have bought it at the store from the manufactured cards. And we don't manufacture cards. We make our own hand-stamped cards from the heart and all sorts of things. And I think I might actually make a scrapbook page with the same idea and the same paper. So if I do, I will definitely share it with you. I know we have a lot of scrapbookers out there and a lot of newer scrapbookers. If you ever want to take one of my card designs, they're all basically scrapbook pages. You just make them bigger, and then you add your pictures and your dates, right? And then any memories. Okay. Oh, I need to do that one more time. Okay, I'm back, and we are ready to finish this card, and we'll start by putting our flower together. I'm going to turn this center piece over that we embossed, and I'm going to use one of our Stampin' Dimensionals and just pop this up. I just want to give it a little bit of dimension so it's not so flat. And so if you've never seen our dimensionals, it just kind of pops it up right here. It's super cool. And then I'm going to, I'll just add, you can either add liquid glue or a little glue or whatever you want. I'm just going to add a glue dot to each of these, the bases of each leaves. There's 2 leaves, so each set of leaves right here. Okay. And then I'm just going to push this one on here, and then I'm going to push this one right here. Just have my fun little flower. And then I'll start layering this up. So because I'm using vellum, I want to be very careful that I don't put adhesive on the back where you're going to see it, because you will see it. You can see the glue. I mean, that's basically the vellum. When you're using vellum, kind of the tricky part is making sure that you just have adhesive behind the elements on the top of the vellum. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just using our Stampin' Seal adhesive, and I'm just going to put the adhesive on the bottom half like this. And this is going to go on the piece of Magenta Madness cardstock. This is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. This is the cardstock that we'll be retiring with the ink pad next month. So if you fall in love with it, get it before it's gone. They usually announce the retiring list soon at the end of March. And the ink, these colors, once they're gone forever. I know it's so sad, but it's true. Okay, this is the paper. I don't remember the name of it. I'll have it on the screen. And it's just gorgeous. And it has the embossed gold on it. So that's why I thought that would be perfect to emboss on this card. This is cut at 2 inches by 5 1/4. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do. We're going to put this across the bottom, and it's going to cover the vellum and the adhesive, so you can't even see it. And then it gives it a fun look with this card, because vellum is supposed to be like flowy and kind of off the page and like a wedding invitation, right? So that's kind of what I did there. And now I have this stripe. This is also from the designer series paper that comes in 12 by 12, which is perfect for scrapbooking if you are a scrapbooker. So remember that you don't just have to be a card maker. You can be a scrapbooker or both, or all of the above. I'm adding this piece here, and this is 1/2 inch by 5 1/4, and I'm just going to run this across here. And now I have my card base. This is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 inches. This is pear pizzazz, so I pulled the pear from the ink that we used. I like to really pull in all of the colors if I can on the layers, as many as I can. Okay, and the 3 main colors for this card are gold, magenta, and pear pizzazz. And so I have them all in my layers. I'm going to add this on here. And now we're just going to finish up by throwing some dimensionals on the back of this flower. And I'll make sure I have one on each of the leaves, since they're different, they're separate pieces attached to the one. Did that make sense? It sounded okay coming out of my mouth, but sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know if that made sense. All right. And then I'm going to put this here. And I love this card so much. Look at how beautiful this card is. So there we go. There is a card, and I have a whole stack here waiting to fill out to give us customer thank you cards. So again, some of you may receive this in the mail. I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to leave a comment below. I love to hear from you. It makes my day. And subscribe, and you can find me and more of my video tutorials directly on my blog, mypinkstamper.com. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.